Good evening, everypony, and welcome to Commentary is Magic's stream on tonight, Sunday, June 9th, 2019. I am, as always, Grandpaws.
Big cheese?
You know what? I'm just Arcat today. I'm not even gonna bother with a quip.
Oh, come on. You always have to have a quip. I'm Ivory Starlight. I have a quip.
What is your quip?
My quip is that I have a quip.
That's a terrible
And you
quip.
don't. Yeah, but at least I have one.
The eternally quipping Ivory Starlight.
Sure, let's go with that. I have one. He doesn't. Meh.
Did you pay 2 to equip that?
Burn.
You're welcome.
That's pretty good. So here we find ourselves yet again with Store Championships on the horizon. 2 weeks out for some, 3 weeks out for others. What's the status like of this, Ara? How close are we to 0 hour?
Well, like you said, that kind of depends on when your store got this thing scheduled. So it's 2 weeks for me? Yeah.
2 weeks for you.
2 weeks.
I think we've got 2 weeks for us here as well. Ivory, what about you?
I believe I am the rogue 3 weeks.
I mean, we also have 3 weeks for the second one.
No, they are both the same weekend.
Might have
They
both the
are?
same.
Yes, one
Mine
on
are both the
Saturday,
same
one on
day.
Sunday. Yeah, you're a madman, by the way, Ara.
I had no hand in this.
Can confirm all the players in that play group are crazy.
All the players in my playgroup are crazy.
So that counts you too, Ivory, because you started up here? Or does that not work that way?
I can say you were a direct influence,
You're welcome. I apologize for a lot of things.
but not this thing.
No, I apologize for this thing.
All right, so for players outside of the particular groups we happen to be a part of, what are they looking at as far as the status of events? Where's their stuff?
Oh, where's their stuff? I don't know anything about their stuff. Mostly because the post office has all of the international stuff. So we're just hoping that customs and international shipping doesn't mess everything up. We got these out much earlier than we did last time, so hopefully this won't be a problem. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
The domestic kits, however, should go out fairly soon. And given that there's 2 weeks and there's no, gigantic snowstorms wrecking the area up, I expect that stuff to arrive well ahead of time.
Will there be free samples of makeup included with some of the kits this time?
That is up to the post office. I seriously have no idea where that makeup came from. Like,
I
none.
demand makeup with mine.
Well, you should have said something about that, earlier.
I demanded no sphinxes with mine, and that didn't happen.
That's too bad. You got a sphinx anyway.
I got yeah,
I
I
got a
did.
picture of a sphinx.
Everyone send grandpas your sphinxes.
Don't start this.
No, we're totally gonna start this. Do I need to go get the where is it? Where is it?
Please no. Please.
I don't have it handy, so you're spared for the moment.
By the way, question for chat while we're on this topic as well. Since sphinxes are basically half lion and half eagle, if M.A. Larson were to get a hold of Capper and put wings on him, does that make Capper the sphinx?
Yes.
Obviously.
I'm just gonna say yes.
And I'm saying this mostly because I know what your plans are here, but I think I'd say yes anyway.
I'm just gonna do a Capper cosplay and just grab little Twilight wings and put it on the back.
And then everyone will refer to you as, hey, look, it's the Sphinx, and they'll
Yes.
give you all their Sphinxes.
Okay, so kits are out, which is good. Store championships are coming up here. Why are we talking about this? Who cares? It's store championships. It's
Yeah,
great,
who
but
cares?
like that's everyone's personal business, right?
Correct.
Wrong. Wrong. I award you no points. No. Store championships and what we're going to be doing with them are kind of everyone's business, because that's our policy. So today's topic, once again, is what are we thinking? Ara, break this down for us. What did we do last time we had store championships, and why are we doing this again?
So I'm going to cut this quite short from last time, but basically we're hoping to be as transparent as possible about what we're up to here. You know, we're not out to unload more secret combo tech or win all the promos or whatever. We're players. We want to play this game that we love because we enjoy playing this game.
Game.
Go figure. People supporting a game that they like playing or something.
Yeah, weird, right? So, as with last time, we're all kind of going mildly crazy that we have to pick a deck like right now and sit on it for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I know that Grandpas and Big Cheese are going like completely insane because they can't sit there and tinker with stuff. As with last time, I believe the promise we're making is the decks that we run will have 42 cards. Right, well, plus the problem deck. So no more than 3 cards will change.
Right. From the list that we share tonight, which we will continue to share every stream before Store Championships begins, or any major event like that begins, we make a commitment to change no more than 3 individual cards from that list. That's pretty intense, given that some of us are 3 weeks out from where we're supposed to be. If you've met any of us before, you know that Cheese and myself especially love last-minute changes to deck lists.
And that
Pretty much.
And that 3-card allowance is to keep you two from like actually losing it.
And what, building like AJ Pink 5 minutes before the tournament again?
Sounds terrible.
No, I think it's more in terms of if you didn't have that 3-card allowance, you'd be sitting there just being like, ah.
Although I think the deck that I'm running right now is still the one that I made like 30 minutes before the stream last time.
Yeah, but you've altered it over time.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it. I think you'll find that, especially because several of us are going to have Defenders block Store Championship events, we are of similar minds when it comes to a few things. In fact, Ara,
A little bit.
before we go into that, tell us what they can win, Bob.
It would have been like, I don't know. I feel like there's an airplane joke that could have been made in there,
Maybe.
but you blew it.
I know.
Well, the promos, like we've mentioned last time, are Starlight trying to give you a nice mug of cocoa, and Twilight being very surprised by the angry mob outside of her castle. So
That flavor text is still some of the best.
Twilight was better before she had wings. I actually don't remember what the flavor text is.
I'm still mad that I never noticed that until one of you pointed it out.
What is the flavor text?
It's a reference to Monty Python.
And how do you become a princess anyway?
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
That thing. Yes. So, these will be great promos to play for and to compete for. Every player who participates in the Store Championships events will be guaranteed 1 copy of the Starlight Glimmer Guidance Counselor promo. And players who happen to make the top 8 cut will receive a Tough Questions promo as well.
Uh-huh.
Now, with that being said, there are some big changes that we talked about last time. The rules updates, mostly the change in the Defenders block format being brand new. And this is a format where currently certain ban cards are still legal. For now.
certain ban cards are still legal. When you say they're banned, I think you need to qualify that with a format.
Sure. Certain cards that are banned in the core and harmony formats, like for example, main 6, are not currently banned in Defender's Block. So with that in mind, Ara, tell us what you're running.
Not main 6, actually. Although that was up there. What I'm running is I'm going with what seems to work for me, which is Mono Fluttershy in Defender's Block. Many of you will recognize this as, hey, it's that Mono Fluttershy deck from Core. And yeah, it's basically the same thing, except there are some cards that we can't run. So there's no Allos, which makes the deck actually mono yellow. Thank you.
Pretty sure it doesn't change anything.
It has Flim and Flam, it's colorless.
Still a mono yellow deck with or without Allo.
Ah.
Thank you, Ivory.
And a handful of other substitutions, just to fill things out, because we can't have nice things like Allos and, let's see, Marble Pies, I believe, was the other major thing that it lost.
Allos, Marble Pies. Yes.
Industrial Revolution went away as well.
Yes, Industrial Revolution is gone too.
But there are good substitutes for that. Not quite as amazing, but pretty good.
Passable substitutes.
Passable substitutes. I don't know what you're on about. A couple of these dilemmas are pretty good in their own right. The rest of this shouldn't be very surprising to players who are familiar with Mono Yellow. There's Bunyips, Day Shifts, Kool-Aid Yaks. You know, all the usual good stuff.
If Yona was a flavor of Kool-Aid, what flavor would she be?
Of Kool-Aid. I don't
Broken-
even know what flavors there are.
Well, there's red and purple and blue.
There's Broken Glass. That's what flavor of Kool-Aid she is.
She's
would she
broken
not?
glass flavor.
Would she not be yellow?
I don't know if there is yellow flavored Kool-Aid.
Of course there is. I think.
What is it,
Would she
lemon? It's
be
yes, it's
It'd be
sheep
like lemon
flavored?
lime or something. I don't know.
lemon flavored.
Fair enough. Oh, the other thing we lost was equal or else for the problem.
Yes, there are a handful of good problems that unfortunately we can't has. But we do get to keep some of the best ones. That lacking lesson plans is pretty neat. And regrettably, there are some searching high and lows in here. I don't really want to run those, but oh well.
I think you kind of have to. There's
Yeah,
no better option.
Well, you have to run one of them just to deal with Silverstream. But I kind of don't want to run two.
It's kind of nice to have searching high and low when you can turn one confront with Gummy and flip Fluttershy.
Eh,
That's a brave choice to start the game with.
If my opponent's playing Skystar.
What if
I'm not
you
gonna
go
do it.
second?
Huh?
What if you go second?
That's why
Is my opponent playing Skystar?
don't play Skystar Chicken.
Correct. Play Silverstream Chicken instead. It's a much safer game. Even though you have to play it on the stairs.
Yes.
Okay, so that covers Defender's Block. What other formats are your store championships going to be in, Arquette?
My other one's Core. And for this one, I'm being entirely uncreative, and I'm basically just stealing Grandpa's Everfree core deck. I may have alternative needs for this, like we need a control deck so that Skitter can take his horrible monstrosities and just turn them into absolute tyrants. So it was convenient, and I'm like, sure, why not? And I think we've already talked quite a bit about this. So, yeah, it does Tempest and purple and white and blue things.
Fair enough.
All right, how about you?
How about me?
What do you got?
Well, as I was hinting at, Main 6 is unbanned, or not banned yet, in Defender's Block. And Main 6 is such a stupid card that I had no choice but to also run mono yellow.
Nice bait and switch there. Only without the bait and switch in the deck.
Ah,
This is where I'd run bait and switch. If I was running pink,
Very slightly different deck list here. I'm running 3 Sanctuary Constructions and only 2 Bryans. But otherwise, I believe the list is identical, because it turns out when you give yellow the ability to move at immediate speed, to confront without having to spend AT, and to also have decent soft removal for opposing friends, it's kind of a good color.
there's another difference there. I have another Defend the Hive for I think it's a Spooky Ruins.
Okay, sure.
I'm going to value my aggro more because, in theory, this doesn't really care that it loses the face-off.
That's fair. That's a good point. One fun card that we got to swap here for the Marble Pies was Zephyr Breeze. So Marble Pie was pretty good efficiency. It was 1 AT and it gave you 3 power, but she couldn't contribute her power towards face-offs. Well, Zephyr costs 2, but gives you 4 power initially, and it can contribute its power towards face-offs, which means you have a greater chance of winning face-offs with this version of the deck than you do with the core version. And then Zephyr is sad, and he goes home after the problem face-off, and he dies, and goes to your discard pile. And then he comes back, stronger than ever next time, at 5 power, and stronger than ever at the time after that, at 6 power.
I am so unhappy that I'm running this card, but unfortunately it's objectively the best choice here.
I mean, you're not wrong. It is. It is a good, efficient, powerful card. And it is also one of those few examples of a card that if your opponent is playing orange, like Pythons, and if your opponent has a Desert Road in play,
it does.
like Pythons, you are completely happy with that and you will slam Zephyr Breeze into a Desert Road every day of the week.
Pretty much.
Maybe? I mean, it's going to be best if you've got a day shift to do something with him afterwards, but half the time you'd almost prefer that he's in the discard pile.
I don't know. If you don't have another Zephyr in your hand, you can move him from home, and that's 4 power for 2 AT, which is the same ratio you had to play him.
Yeah.
Fair, I suppose. Hi, Skitter. I'm making a little heart gesture at you. You can't see this.
All right, so that's mono yellow, which has nothing to do with main 6. And in core, I mean, you got to stick with what you know. And I have had a lot of success with Tempest Blue Purple. And apart from just successful, this deck is just so fun to play. It's so great to be able to generate stupid amounts of AT with Daring Do and Daring Do Poster and Starlight, and then turn that AT into aggression with farming your own epic troublemakers with Daybreaker and starting face-offs that you're actually winning, and then just mismating eventually when you get tired of playing the runaround.
Of winning.
Yes. When you get tired of winning and you just want to have won. I know the Werefrog, it's kind of disappointing that there's only been 2 decks shown so far, but honestly, these decks have proven themselves in various events. We've seen what Tempest Control is able to do, and we know that Mono Yellow has been performing well in testing. So that's one of these things, is if you are trying to be competitive, make sure you have data to back up your decision. And I think that, at the very least, Aracat and I feel like we do.
Yeah. I've been running around with this mono yellow build. It's pretty nice.
It's not, the nice thing about that mono yellow deck is it's not brain dead either. There are interesting decisions to make in it, but it plays so quickly.
I mean, that's fair. The only better version of this is the version where you're running it in Nightmare, and you get the bonus points for initial confronts.
Never again.
That was great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Never again. All right. So, cheese.
Yep.
So main 6.
Yeah, it's an amazing card.
And you actually enjoy a lot of the pink aspects that are available, at the very least in core. You know, you've built your Tempest pink list and all that.
Yeah, I really like control. Wait, when did I start liking control? That's weird.
It's a good question. So,
Given all this,
and King of Pink, what with your pile lists and everything else, what are you running in Defender's block?
mono yellow.
Hooray!
Of course you are. Just have to ask, have you borrowed Princess Rob's trolling motor there?
Trolling.
I felt like I had to do the rug pull here. Like it is so rare that all of our interests in a particular format actually align like this. Usually we have very different playstyles and very different preferences, and this time mono yellow just clicks.
Yeah, like I've played enough games with and against it that like it's really fast, and the things that slow it down are kind of gone in Defenders.
There's bailouts and lots of, well, I don't know. I think there's a fair amount of stuff that will slow this down. It's just that that's not currently in vogue.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It also likely won't slow it down enough to ultimately stop it.
The other thing is that control in Defenders is just not controlling enough to be able to beat mono yellow.
See, I don't think so. I think this is the thing where, as a format goes through a change, right out of the gate, aggro is always going to be the most powerful thing. It's going to take people a little bit to figure out how to effectively use control.
It's true.
See, the thing is that Troublemaker control does absolutely nothing against this deck. It's just like, this deck just ignores all the Troublemakers.
It has a fair number of tools.
It has 12.
So many.
I'm sorry, 14 if you count the 2 lacking lesson plans that are in your problem deck.
Yeah.
And of those 14, 12 of them work against epics. I'm sorry, 11 of them work against epics. So control against yellow has to really take a very different approach. There needs to be more of an emphasis on immediate speed, forced movement, or otherwise benefits for winning face-offs against yellow, because you are going to be more likely to win a face-off against a yellow aggro deck than you are against just about any other color of aggro deck.
So
if you're against blue, there's competitive everywhere. If you're against pink, they're going to swarm you out. If you're against white, huge amounts of power boosting. If you're against purple, Moondancer. I can't even run Moondancer anymore.
Moondancer, can you now?
You can run Trixie, Smoke and Mirrors, but you can't run Star Swirl Research. So I'm gonna put purple kind of on a iffy level right now. And orange is just gonna have huge power counters. When orange finally gets enough AT and bodies to DFO, you're gonna win the face-off. But yellow's not necessarily the same.
See, I think you missed the part where...
Yeah, that's true. I did miss that part. So, no, I agree with you. I think yellow's a good choice. What about core? What are you doing for core?
Things and stuff.
Would you care to elucidate on things and stuff?
Tempest things and stuff.
Tempest things?
What
Tempest.
color of Tempest things?
Pink things.
See, I wasn't completely lying about the pink things.
Yeah, it's normal. What I've been running for a while now.
This is your Everfree deck, I think.
Yep. I don't think it needs any changes. And I'm probably not up against Pythons, so
This is slightly different, yes, Werefrog. Whereas the previous two Tempest decks that you saw, which were actually the same deck, use blue.
this is totally different. I don't even by slightly different.
Uh-huh.
It does have a fairly different playstyle, merely because you can't, or this can start relying on its hard removal a little bit more easily.
It's true. This is a harder control deck. I don't think there's any mistaking that. Would you agree, Cheese?
This is a what?
Harder control deck. It has more hard control.
Yes. This has more hard control than yours, than the blue.
The thing it gives up for that is speed, though.
Yeah. Not having the day shift?
Daybreaker.
Daybreaker is day shift is the yellow one. Yeah, not having Daybreaker is hurts you on speed. And it I think technically has less AT gen in the optimal play, but
Technically, yes, but you have more card advantage because you're running Selena Blue.
yeah. Selena's so fun.
Selena is a stupid card.
Selena's amazing card.
The best is Selena while you have two Meticulous out, and then you're just like, I don't want these two cards. Meticulous to bottom next turn, and then draw a card, and then draw 3 more cards. Go like 4 deep in your deck per turn.
It's so stupid. I'm not bitter about it.
I hear card advantage wins games.
It can.
It certainly does. It definitely does against combo, that's for sure.
Against combo or with combo?
Against combo. The last time I played this deck with a non-Tempest pseudo-mirror match was when Cloney was still legal. And that was not a game.
I think we've decided that for the two Tempest decks up against each other is like a 50-50. A lot of it comes down to old money.
I like your option for dealing with old money though, because the Tempest decks, for players who have not seen these Tempest decks work before, but have maybe seen the old BRB style decks. Ivory, do you want to break this down a little bit?
Break down the BRB style decks?
Yeah.
Well, before that, how about Ivory, you talk about what you're going to run?
That's fair.
Well, first, let's all be eternally sad that I do not have a Defender's Block Store Champ to attend. However, if I did, I'd also probably be running Mono Yellow. That's out of the way. Now, I wish I could say I had a super surprise, no one saw this coming deck for my Core Store Championship. However, I am running the exact same thing Cheese is.
Okay, so I'm going to press the scene transition button and nothing's going to happen. There, I have done this thing.
Okay.
I saw a screen twitch.
I also see a Twitch screen.
That was awful.
Had to do it.
So I kind of mimic everything Cheese said here. I'll kind of add that I have been playing Mono Yellow in Core since Friends Forever was released, and although I love the deck to death, it's about time I got back into the control game. I do prefer playing this build. I find it more fun and more like what I prefer as a more ideal control style, but that's more personal play style preference. Now, Ara, you mentioned, or actually it may have been Grandpa's, one of you mentioned breaking down the idea of the BRB deck.
Right, and how that kind of led to where we are now with the Tempest list.
So in BRB, the main idea was to take advantage of Enter's play effects and use cards like Interdimensional Portal, Discord Party Discord Party Clasher, I
Yep.
think it was,
Mhm.
and other cards that flicker friends to kind of reuse those effects. Now, obviously, the list we see now is quite a bit more in favor of not as aggressive style as Burb was. The release of Old Money has kind of made the Tempest version a lot more ideal. Old Money is just a dumb card.
I don't think any of us would disagree with that.
Pretty much.
Like, Old Money can pretty much nuke anything your opponent is doing at the time. Just flicker her a couple times and you have the upper hand again.
And so what I'm hearing is that you should maybe be thinking about Desert Roads.
Yeah, I would say that Desert Roads are, if you suspect that you are going to be against a player who either is going to run Old Money or is going to run a deck that takes advantage of Enter's play effects like this Tempest list or any other Burb style list, if you're running orange, you need those Desert Roads.
Fair enough. Now, the one saving grace that Defender's Block has when it comes to not letting Tempest run completely wild is the fact that the best blink effect for any of these friends isn't Defender's Block legal.
Yeah.
No
And
portals.
that's it. No portals.
Sad portals.
Old Money is such a fantastic card, not because it's a friend that you can play to get tremendous value out of immediately. In fact, the turn that you have to play your first Old Money,
It's terrible.
it's not great.
Wow, you know what I just remembered?
What?
Old Money has Meticulous too.
Yes.
Speaking of this, I'd like to remind everyone that Bunyip has Swift.
Yes.
Yes. Please remember that your Bunyips have Swift.
Cards have abilities.
Nothing hurts more than seeing someone pay 2 to move Bunyip that is not frightened.
No, I think it hurts even more to completely forget that Bunyip has Swift and sit there and stare at a frightened Bunyip at your home and go, if only I had one more token, because this will cost 4 to do anything with.
I would like to remind people that Yona has Persistent.
Yeah, I like when my opponents forget that.
I would also like to remind people that Yona also has Swift.
See, that one I knew
Yeah.
because she normally, stays face up so I can read that.
You're allowed to look at your face down cards as long as they're not your opponents.
Face down
You
friends.
can look at
They are,
face down.
I believe those are actually public information, but this doesn't
Yes.
change the fact that you will forget them because no one ever remembers that Bunyip has Swift.
Read your cards, please. It's very
No.
important.
Now,
Alright, I'm gonna need you to read your cards.
let's see. This one says I can't lose.
Is it
That's-
called Platinum Angel?
Yes.
That's not a pony card. Read the pony cards. Don't
It-
read the Platinum Angels.
It doesn't matter. Platinum Angel says he can't lose. I mean,
Right?
there's nothing we can do.
Right?
Okay, so this is an interesting situation for Store Championships here, in that out of all of those decks that we just talked about, really, there's 3 different decks between 4 of us and 7 different events.
Yeah. And if I had a Harmony, I'd be playing Poppy.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably be playing Poppy as well.
I refuse to play Poppy.
What would you play instead of Poppy, Cheese?
I don't even know.
I'm gonna
Not
need you
Poppy.
to decide, like right now.
It's really unfortunate because I don't. You can almost run Poppy in. I mean, it's not great, but no, you run Poppy in Defender's Block.
So Max asks Alexa, how do I counter yellow? And that would have worked, except we have Google Home Assistant, so it needs to be, hey, Google. And now my phone has just turned on, and so...
Good
So is
job.
everyone else's.
Yeah, no, I turned all that stuff off. Also, I'm wearing headphones.
Fair. So the question is, if we're all running mono yellow, and if many of us are running Tempest Control, why? What else could be out there that's making us make these decisions? What other things did we try? What else did we experiment with? These weren't decisions that were made in a vacuum. It's not like we just closed our eyes and threw a dart at the wall, and that's exactly what you did, isn't it, Aura?
Well,
Pretty sure that's what happened.
That's what I did.
I'm not going to say no, but no.
Okay. I will defeat Twilight Sparkle and her friends.
Nah.
Yeah.
I was only told to pick a deck. I wasn't told to pick a deck in an intelligent manner.
That's fair. There are multiple random number generation methods that can help you do this. Did you play a game of Poppy to determine what deck you'd actually be running?
No, because sub-games don't exist in MLP.
So you're
Not
saying
yet.
you're saying we need to print Shahrazad.
I've been saying this for a year.
No.
It's not happening.
No. No, I'm issuing both of you a hissing right now.
Okay, so what else did we experiment with? What else have we seen? Well, let's start with Defender's Block because it's the newest format.
Let's see. So there was the Solano purple list going around.
Uh-huh. Yep, kind of like an AT-based aggro deck that uses Daring Do's and Starlights, and a Changeling can change to just get a lot of value.
It
Yeah.
does not appear to slow mono yellow down enough on its own.
No, what did we end up with the rate on that deck? Geez, was it like a 30-70 or a 35-65, something like that?
It's pretty close to 50-50. Like, I think that yellow is slightly better, but it's not that significantly higher.
Okay, so-
But I think it's a slightly higher enough, and I think that yellow it does better against other decks.
That's fair. Yeah, Solano Purple would have trouble against a lot of troublemakers. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go figure.
Okay, so we had that. I tried messing around with Skystar Blue Poppy style aggro. It works, but again, kind of one of those things, right? You have to splash into a third color to get your resource removal. Your troublemaker removal is spotty at best. You get to run some hard removal, but it's not very much.
Well, you are discounting the most important thing.
Poppy.
No,
Poppy.
no,
Skystar Chicken?
correct.
Okay.
Never don't.
Never don't. There are Tempest control decks that you can play. A couple different ways. I know that there's an anti-farm deck that's out there, and I know the person who plays it isn't watching, which is why I'm calling it an anti-farm deck. Or a counter-farm deck.
Was that Cursed's totally not counter farm deck?
No, it was Hithrock.
Oh, Hithrock's totally not counter farm deck.
Definitely not counter-farm.
I mean, I can say that definitely is a counter farm deck.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Whether or not it was built to be, it is.
It looks like a counter farm deck and plays like a counter farm deck.
And quacks like a counter-farm deck.
I wish my decks quacked.
Honk!
Honk.
Honk.
So that's an option. There's a unicorn tribal deck. There's mono blue, which can do stuff. I mean, there's a lot of different decks out there in Defender's Block. And since I did kind of hint at it, I'm sure someone out there is going to build a main 6 deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even bad. It's just something.
Because I think one of the things that I was looking at for a little bit was the Silverstream whitelist, which is pretty hilarious to play, but it just didn't feel like it was going to be effective in a competitive environment.
So I think part of the problem with that is when we saw Silverstream White last, it was in Beyond Block, right? You didn't have the Defenders of Equestria set. Just off the top of our head, we can think of several cards that would be very easy inclusions. Belly Flop is a huge one. It's Gonna Work is a great card to banish stuff or reduce confront requirements. Pinky's Present can refill your hand. Gabby can keep your hand perpetually full, although you're not going to run that in a Silverstream list. And Tender Taps can bring back a lot of your friends too. And all of those cards are from the Defenders set. Some good cards. Also Changeling Mimics. You know, that one thing.
Everyone's favorite.
I don't know, but more importantly, that can run main 6, and I think it's usually a copy of Cornered.
Correct. And main 6 and Cornered is probably the easiest way to do that in Defender's Block right now.
Yeah. It's very expensive, but it is a pretty good board wipe.
I mean, it's no more expensive than main 6 Party Hard was, except it doesn't wreck your opponent's hand.
Well, yes, and there's a reason that went away.
Right. Also, we should probably point out something interesting about Cornered. I don't suppose there's any chance we can bring that card up here, is there?
Not easily.
Okay, that's fair. Cornered has some very specific text on it. It says...
Up to?
Yes. Each player chooses up to 3 of their friends. And then retires the rest. Up to can include a number like 0. Not
I mean, I don't think you'd ever pick 0. But...
No, but you might pick 1. If main 6 is the only friend that you have in play and everything else is your opponent's, and you got the pink wreck off of your main having a staff, you can choose to not keep 3 friends in order to retire everything your opponent has.
Can I choose to keep 200 friends?
No, you cannot.
Is that up to 3?
Yes.
It is above.
I'm gonna need you to show your work on that math.
Yeah, and get a citation needed.
Yeah. So just a little tip for anyone looking at doing main 6 stuff.
Ban hugs. No hugging allowed.
As far as farming is concerned, there's a couple different options there which are kind of interesting. Thorax farm could sort of happen. Professor Twilight could sort of happen. It's a little harder for her, but she could give it a shot. Rainbow Dash Wonderbolt could sort of happen.
There was a pretty nifty Ocellus farming deck that got tossed to me at Everfree that could swap out a few cards from Defenders to make it work a little better.
Sure, I could see Ocellus farming working. Smolder kind of counter farm again as well. Dragon Control. Could end up doing some good stuff.
You got that purple-orange stuff going on there.
Mm-hmm. Which is nice.
Sitting there and then exhausting all of Yellow's things. It doesn't like that.
It doesn't get to run Bailout anymore, though.
No, it does not.
So what about Core? Core's a little broader.
Yeah, see, I'm not touching that one because I'm sitting here basically trying to be a turbo hipster and going Defender's Block only.
Mm-hmm.
I give when I enter play, I give all cards like turbo unique, which means they're unique across the entire tournament.
Can they be unique to themselves so that they have to get rid of themselves?
Yes,
And then you just can't play any cards?
correct.
I like this.
Fair enough. Core is a little interesting. Tempest Control is very present there, of course, but we've also seen several aggro decks do very well. blue aggro in particular, and yellow blue aggro have a tendency to work nicely. We saw kind of the mid-range style of Pie Guard at Everfree just a couple weeks ago. There's the Traitor to the Hive and all his snacks.
Obligatory hissing. The Pythons deck,
It doesn't lose much.
it does not lose much. It is still very scary.
It loses Pee-wee, which I'm happy about. Definitely not bitter.
I think you're pretty bitter about that
Now with increased bitterness.
one. I think you're like, how many lemons per second are we talking here?
That would be sour, not bitter.
I still think we're talking about a lot of lemons, though.
When we talk about a lot of pith from the lemons, that'll be fine.
So, how many lemons?
I can't hold all these lemons. That's how many lemons.
Okay, it's fair enough. It's a lot of lemons.
So anyway, I think that's pretty much the summary of what we're going to be doing. Bit of Tempest Control, a bit of Mono Yellow.
I'm not sure what you're talking about with a little bit of here, because it's
Straight
if-
Mono Yellow across the board.
and then
Straight Tempest Control across the board.
I suppose we should say, if any groups have not yet signed up for store championships and would like to participate, the forum, I believe, is still open. Is that correct, Oracat?
oh yeah,
Okay.
it's like you'd like me to get a link or something.
It is like, I would like you to get a link or something.
So it's like that link right there. Haha.
And I believe Max is asking here in chat if we can post the Ponyhead deck list for what we're going to be running somewhere. I believe we can do that both here in chat and on the announcement Reddit post as soon as the stream is done. The Werefrog asks, is there a store championship map yet? The answer is not yet, but probably within the next 24 hours there will be.
Hint, hint.
So we will work on doing that, because we'd like people to see what's going on around them. A good number of international ones this time, too.
Multiple in the UK even.
Mm-hmm.
One in Australia.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Here, let's see if we can get the deck lists here in chat.
Yeah, there's still. For international ones, it's going to be a little bit close, but domestic ones, there's still time. Gotta get those in quick though.
While we have a moment, remember to include in whatever deck you do decide you want to run for your store champs. Resource removal is mandatory.
What? No. Don't
Please.
let any resource removal.
No.
You don't need to remove my resources. Wait, I
No.
don't actually really run any resources.
I was going to
care
say, you
about.
have no resources. You don't care.
The mere fact that you don't want people to remove your resources is why people want to remove your resources.
3 minimum is the golden rule.
And I think, like we've said, it might honestly be more than that at this point. Yes. Also, please be friendly. Please be excellent to your TO and bring a printed deck list. With a QR code on it. There's that little button down at the bottom of Ponyhead that says "Print Deck List." It's pretty cool. So you should do that.
Print out necklace? That's cool.
Yes, it's very cool.
With all that being said, though, think that's going to wrap us up a little early tonight. We would like to give a big shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. There have been some new patrons recently. Special shout out to you. If you aren't currently a patron but you enjoy what we do, please consider donating. Doing so does enable us to continue making content like this. And if you have comments or questions you'd like to send our way, or if you're just interested in hearing about what we're working on for the future, there are many ways you can stay in contact. We have our Patreon, as mentioned previously, but you can also reach us through our Facebook, Twitter, and email. And patrons at or above the $5 per month level also get access to our Slack channel where you can chat live with us any day, anytime. Ivory, you said you always had a quip. Make a quip about our sleep schedule.
No, I was up at
What sleep schedule?
Good answer.
Remember, it's always combo o'clock. So if you have an idea, throw it out there. Combo o'clock will begin.
it's combo o'clock somewhere. Seriously.
Basically.
I mean, yeah.
If you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel, which is linked in the sidebar, and please make sure to subscribe so we can have a channel URL that is easy to remember and link to. We have been getting more subscriptions recently, and we appreciate that. Let's keep it going. With all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. Hi, Hithrock. It's Counter Farm. I'm sorry, bro. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I am, as always, Grandpa's.
Big cheese.
Like, can I sit here and no?
No, you
The quipless
sit
are a
there.
cat.
The always quipped Ivory Starlight.
Good luck at Store Champs, everyone.
Good luck.
I hope you all lose. JK.
Really?
Wow.
Wow,
That's shade.
Harsh.
That's like some serious bad matter right there.
All right, timeout time.
Yeah, you're getting
You
I
get, you're going in the bad pony box.
a hissing for that one.
The cardboard box. No face-offs for you.
No, and then get hit with a stick and get frightened.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.
What?